Okay, good morning. Welcome back, everybody. Father Miller here, the Nerd Father. This is our first Saturday chat. We were supposed to do it last week, but a number of people had conflicts, and that's fine. Odin and John Trent would have been here this morning, but they both have family in town, so it's just the three of us. Father Sinatra cannot make it this morning, too, and Father Galfond, unfortunately, is traveling, so he won't be here this morning. So this is what I woke up to this morning.
Yikes.
We're expecting anywhere between 3 to 7 inches of snow this weekend. And it sucks because last weekend we were supposed to get a half an inch. We ended up getting 5. I made it 5 miles outside of town before I said, forget this. I turned around and headed back because I was driving on the wrong side of the road most of those 5 miles. So... But we got Miss Martin Muses and Lady Gravemaster. How are you two?
I'm doing halfway sane, Father.
Okay.
I guess that's better than halfway crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm just I'm just trying to get this set. So this is streaming on both Facebook and YouTube. I had to set the privacy thing for Facebook. So, John's here. Good morning, John. I didn't know if you were going to make it or not.
John!
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, just talked to my wife, and she said we were good to go.
Oh,
I had to get out a little early, though.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I don't think we're going to go as long as we did last time, because I think we ended up going 3 hours, 2 hours after we went offline or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
Yes, definitely.
So,
I think we had a lot to talk about last time.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
We've got a lot to talk about this time, too.
know, yeah.
Oh my gosh, John, I have to, you guys must just be I have no idea. Your fingers must be cramping from all of the articles. You guys are pumping out. It's been great.
I actually technically took the day off, but I did get up that the story about Gina getting the new movie deal. Because my wife and we had our convalidation ceremony last night. It was supposed to be at 11, so I had technically taken the day off, but we had to reschedule it to 7:30 because adoration was taking precedent for most of the day. But yeah, we got it done. So
awesome.
I always found that fascinating. When people who aren't familiar with it, they're like, "Well, can't they just move the mass?" I'm like, "No, they can't."
Was it just the ceremony, or was it within mass, or?
It was just the ceremony.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, yay!
Yeah. We're happy.
Congrats!
You're unvalidated. Do you feel validated?
Yeah.
You feel like your truth now.
No, it's
It's
definitely. I mean, it was definitely a different. You feel like Christ blessing your marriage for definitely. You feel that.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Yay! I'm glad.
I think the last wedding I had was about 5 years ago, and I had a validation about 3 years ago, and the husband died about 6-7 months later. But it was an older couple.
Oh.
So, but I mean, they were able to get it blessed in the church, and it's a great blessing. But it was weird when I did the prep. So, how many times did you meet with the priest for this? Because the whole marriage prep thing.
So it was all during COVID. So we did a couple online. I mean, we did it probably. It's been almost a year. I would say we've been going every 2-3 weeks. Probably we were meeting with our priest. So we got to know him pretty well, which I like that too. So, but yeah, we did it. We met quite a bit. Well, I mean, plus he also started taking over RCI classes, and my wife is going through RCI classes. So we were meeting with him for that too. So we were
I didn't know that kind of blended in, because usually it's about 5 sessions or 6 sessions.
Yeah, we probably did a lot more than that. I probably think we did maybe 12. I feel like.
Oh, you know what? But it's a good introduction for her. And it's a good refresher for you. I mean, that's one of the things that we're supposed to do in our marriage prep classes is a review of the faith. So, awesome.
Yeah, so I don't know if we really did that because my wife's not Catholic, but she's working on it. But yeah, so I don't know if we didn't do any like, it was more like we took this like massive questionnaire and we kind of went through the questionnaire for a lot of the sessions.
Focus test.
Interesting.
Finished.
Yeah.
Was
So
it
it
the
was
focus test?
That's some of like the compatibility things, right? That
Yeah, it's like I mean, a lot of the questions were, so it's weird because a lot of them are set up for engaged couples who haven't been married for 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's just so you have to, it's kind of weird how you have to answer those and like get around them. But
That's the focus test, right?
I think so. I think that's what it's called. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was like 300
Yep.
plus questions, like a ton of questions. So we never finished. We never got through all of them though. We got through most of them. But a lot of them are like, you talk about it and you discuss it, and it's like you get to it, like you get to the next session. It's like, oh, we kind of already talked about that when we were talking about this other topic. So, but you know, I highly recommend it. And I actually really like the so we also had us watch on Formed. There's a Formed is a streaming service. You get it on Roku app. You can they have it's a marriage class that I thought was pretty helpful. There's like the part where it like walks you through like what happens, like the actual like physical ceremony. But then what I found really interesting was like I actually found the second group of videos like more interesting, because it's basically just like these couples from the Augustine Institute and other people just kind of talking about their marriages and giving like advice on like how they've dealt with different things. And you have all different types of couples who have found strength in Christ to strengthen their marriage. Like there's one couple, they were about to like get a divorce, but the priest asked them to like go read your Bible, and he like God spoke to him through the Bible, and they went back and their marriage is stronger than ever now. I guess according to the video, their own testimony. So, but you have all people from all different, like there's young couples, there's older couples, there's just all different types of experiences, and I really found a lot of interesting and good information from that.
Nice. I remember my spiritual director told me, of happy memory, may he rest in peace, that he almost wished as a priest that people would do all of that before they even get engaged. It said before they buy the flowers and all that, because it does happen sometimes, especially if you go in the right order, that people do start this process and then discern we shouldn't be married. And that's okay, and I think that's a good thing, because if you think about it, a priest or a sister, they have a long discernment period.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And so that this is not only good, in a situation like yours, John, but also or just engage people, but just the discernment process about who your partner is, and is this the person that you are called to be connected to for the rest of your life?
Yeah, 100%.
I thought we just had to like each other's Instagram posts and call it good. Isn't that how it works nowadays?
I had a marriage prep about 12 years ago, I think it was, and they were not from the parish. They were doing the marriage prep here at my parish at the time, and their pastor wouldn't set the date until they finished the prep because they think there might have been some issues. And I started the process and they weren't too happy, so they went to another parish to get the marriage done. And I had to forward. So when you get married outside of a diocese, you have to forward the paperwork through your chancery to their chancery, and then it's complicated. But I wrote a reservation letter because she just seemed really concerned about just let's get the date set and all this, not taking it seriously and everything. I'm like, I have some issues with this. So I wrote the letter in case the marriage failed, which thankfully it hasn't. I looked her up the other day. If the marriage failed, there would be at least some groundwork for an annulment.
Yeah. And that's got to be a hard job for you, Father, because then you're the jerk, right?
I'll tell you, the best weddings I've had are the ones that go to Mass on Sundays.
Well, of course, yeah.
Well, but I mean, a lot of times the couples, and again, I said it's probably been 5 years since I've had a marriage prep, but the times that I've worked with couples, whether they're going through RCIA or they're Sunday going, they're great. Not everybody goes to church, sadly.
Yeah, or at least when one of the spouses, because we talked a little bit last time about so-called mixed marriages, and they can work out as long as they're completely honest, and at least one is of the understanding. But I also know a priest that told me that the most awkward part sometimes of the whole process with engaged couples is the address. And then
yes.
He's like, you know what I'm talking about.
Your address?
And they have the same address. Oops. And of course, I'm sticking up for you priests here. You probably like it as much as the other people like it because you're like, oh, great. Here we go. The awkward.
Well, I had one where it was a mixed couple, and as part of the thing is the Catholic Party promises that they will bring the kids up in the church. And after 3 times of meeting with them, asking this question, it's like, if you can't commit to this, I can't do the ceremony. And the very next word out of her mouth was yes. It's like, mean it. Just don't say yes to get the permission. Mean it.
Yeah.
Right.
And for those watching, when a mixed marriage happens, I'm sure you probably had to get the dispensation too. It's been years since I've taught this, so I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't think we had to get one because she's going through RCIA.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
But
I don't think we did do it.
Usually when a Catholic marries a non-Catholic, then, and it's almost always granted. It's almost always granted the permission for the mixed marriage.
Yeah. I think if everyone's going into it with their eyes wide open and they're truly open to each other and what's important to the other. And I've always seen a practical part of it as well, because so many people I know, whether they be of Christian, Catholic, or Jewish, they're like, it doesn't matter until the wife gets pregnant, and all of a sudden it matters. And I think that's something to sort out before you get married. I mean, it's like, hey.
That's why you have to go on the retreat. That's why you go through all the hoops and hurdles, because this thing is for life.
Yeah. And of course, older marriages, if I ever do get married, it will be an older marriage where children will not be a part of that. There's different things that you do and compatibilities that also, I think sometimes, because rightly so, there is an emphasis on children and, is this going to be the father of your children or vice versa? But there's also other things that need to also be sorted out and understood. I think, to me, as long as it's understood, as long as both parties are open, that to me, correct me if I'm wrong, Father, is the most important thing. Yeah. I mean, besides Jesus and all that kind of stuff, that's a given. Sorry, I know I'm starting to sound. No. I'm not a secular humanist about this.
No.
But you know what I'm trying to say, because let's just be real, especially for us here in America, you're going to see more mixed marriages. It's just we're not Poland,
Yeah. It's
our goal to get that way, though.
You what?
It's our goal to become more like Poland.
Well, people are working on it. Alcoholism is on the rise here. People like their vodka.
Yeah.
They're not alcoholics. I'm talking about the vodka.
No. I was just thinking, I've been reading about suicides that have been happening among the kids because of the shutdown and everything. And I have to say, I hate to think what I might have done if this happened in the 80s. Because I lived on a farm. The only time I saw my friends was at church or during the summer. The only time I would have seen my friends were at church because nobody was nearby. I had no kids to play with. And to think what would have happened without the internet or even cable, I just hate to think what would happen. And it's just sad to see the kids right now suffering.
Yeah.
But our schools have been open since August. I mean, we haven't had a spike, thankfully.
Yeah.
So
I know the Catholic schools here in Virginia are open, but they do some kind of like weird rotation where they can't have all the kids in the classroom at the same time, so they rotate the days, but they do have them in the classroom. But I think that's only the Catholic schools. I don't think the public schools are open. I think all the public schools here in Virginia, at least in Northern Virginia, are still shut down.
Oh, interesting. Because where I am, we're open, and the public schools, they're also on that rotation. Or some of the some of the Catholic schools are actually every day, but they're able to spread out the kids. They've been making use of parish halls kind of things and working it out that way. I think as much as we can have some normalcy for the children, the only part that I'm still putting my foot down and not liking one little bit is making these poor little children, especially my babies, wearing masks. Kills me. Because I don't want to get you shut down, Father. I won't say my opinions on it, but the poor little things.
Maybe I shouldn't say what I was going to say then.
Well, I'll say what I'm going to say after this question. I still don't know how to pronounce. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. I enjoy seeing you on the Gary's Sunday member stream.
Apollomy?
Yeah. Okay. Too many syllables for me. In the Catholic Church, we're not required. I mean, we're asked to tithe. We're not required to tithe. Not everybody's able to give. But, we have this thing called stewardship, which is time, talent, and treasures. Some people can give more of time. Some are very talented and they can donate their talent that way. My last parish, I miss him greatly. He was the air and heating guy. So he took care of all the furnaces, the heating, the air conditioner, and all that stuff for both the rectory and the church. Some people have more money they can give. So I guess in the Seventh-day Adventist, they require people to pay. I don't know. I that's bad. Anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I was going to mention. So as I put in our chat last week, I got muted by YouTube, or somehow I got muted during my homily because I mentioned a few people that used to be known by a different name, and the problem was my computer was on a little platform by the altar and I'm at the pulpit. So when I got back to the altar, I see like this little red thing above the stream and I can't read it because I have bifocals. My eyes suck. But I just noticed I was muted.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Father, psychologically, that messed me up because I think I've told you all that I'm in a situation where I'm not able to go to Mass. For the safety of some of my other students, because of not students, there's so many elderly there, and because of situations with my job, and that is my lifeline right now, is getting to watch Mass online, especially at this very difficult time. And I needed to hear that message. And when it went mute, I'll admit, I pulled one of those. Feeling sorry for myself, but I mean, I just was almost done. I was so done.
Were you watching it live when it happened?
Well, yeah. And I'm just like, listen, all we want is a little bit of comfort on all of this. We're all going crazy. And the things that are keeping us sane are, our community, our faith. And I just want to hear a few words of comfort about this chaotic situation from a priest and get a little bit of comfort. And they just went and cut it off. It was cruel because of where I was at that moment.
It's the first time that's ever happened. Well, 2 times now.
Yeah, it's cruel. And it just also reminded me of how easily, because of the way we're getting more totalitarian, how easily they could just cut us off from that. And not just from our church, not just from
The whole point, as I said, is the gospel, the teachings of the church are going to be labeled hate speech.
Yeah.
I mean, they already are.
Yeah. And how soon before they're going to do that with our family, with our friends, with our loved ones? Because, we can't let you communicate because that's dangerous. Just how easy it is. They can flip a switch and we're cut off.
Well, I'm already in paranoia mode now on Facebook because I think I mentioned I posted a meme 3 years ago that they just took offense to a few months ago. So it's like 3 years after I posted it, they now took offense because it was, and I'll just paraphrase it here. It was basically a certain guy from Germany who edited a certain madman's book, which made him the first grammatical party that shall not be named here.
I've seen stuff in our group that Facebook is like, it's like they're obviously sarcastic posts, but Facebook is like, it's not me doing it, it's Facebook going in and like whacking these people.
Even on live streams.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone's using all these sorts of code, like Yahtzee is currently the popular euphemism right now.
Yeah, that gets past the monetization stuff. At least I've noticed on YouTube. I had one of our YouTube videos that I put up, our Justina Ireland video that I did. It was like Justina Ireland bashes X people. That video was monetized, and now it's not. Like it's got the yellow marker now. So they did it like a couple weeks later, which is like, okay. But yeah, I've noticed on YouTube I have to be much more creative with my headlines. To get the green mark to monetize.
Yeah. And Father, correct me if I'm wrong. Was what was offensive because you were reading what the bishops were saying about our current president?
So Saturday night I watched both playback. Saturday night, the audio went dead during the I confess. Now, how, I don't know. And it wasn't until after the homily I noticed that it was muted. So I decided last Sunday to restream. And the two things that I talked about was the overturning of the Mexico City Accord and then the executive order on transgender people being able to compete in sports, and just how if you dead name people, you get in trouble.
I mean, that's been a problem on Twitter for a long time, so it doesn't surprise me that that's happening across other platforms now, because all these tech companies work together. They say they don't, but they're obviously all colluding with each other. Whether or not they're actually like sending emails, should be like, we're gonna like texting each other. They're like, they take signals from each other. I remember like one of the biggest podcasts that Joe Rogan had was when he had Tim Pool on with Twitter Jack and the lawyer whose name I can't remember, and like Tim Pool basically just exposed the lawyer as them having a political agenda, and it was specifically over what you were talking about.
Well, it kind of goes to the big issue that everybody's been talking about, because I posted. So as you know, I bought the action figure last night.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'll probably throw that in the safety deposit box. I mean, we'll see. I mean, time will tell if it'll go up in value or not, but I mean, it'll be worth something, I think. But, he made the comment of kind of defending Disney. And it's like, I posted what Pablo tweeted.
So Star Wars theory about like the emotions or whatever?
No. Oh, Pedro. I'm sorry. Pedro.
Yeah. Pedro Pascal.
No, I know Gary. I think it was Gary was confusing them too on one of his videos. He kept calling him Pablo. I was like, oh, you're talking about Pedro.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was. I mean, it's just the double standard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's at this point. It is a double standard, but at this point, it's. I mean, to me, it's obviously political. They can say what they want to say, and there's absolutely no consequences to them in this temporal world we live in. But if someone else that they even perceive is on the other side says basically the same, something similar, it's you're done. But I think what Pedro said was absolutely horrendous. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. With what Gina said, she was warning about the stuff that Pedro's doing. Was warning about being hateful, and what that can lead to. And she's 100% right. And I mean, Pedro is the one who needs to be listening to that stuff and be like, what you're doing is wrong. Like labeling half of the United States of America's population as these evil people who want to like commit genocide is just absolutely horrendous and awful, because it's also a lie.
Yeah. Well, what kills me too, or what concerns me, being a scholar of history, is that I think the reason why they're not being punished for it is because I think they actually believe it. We deserve it. And that's what's creepier than anything else. It's like, well, why is it offensive to call Nazis Nazis? It's not. That they really do think that people that might have maybe a more subsidiary view of the world truly are worthy of being erased.
Well, there's a Catholic apologist. I won't mention the name on here, but he's kind of taken a left turn. I'll probably put it in the private chat. I'm on Facebook with him. I'm probably about ready to unfriend him because for the last 4 years, it's all been a big case of TDS. And if you even try to defend conservatives, I even tried defending Gina on a post that he did, you get attacked. I basically said that the rabbi, I linked to your chat with the rabbi the other day, and this guy said, you're wrong, he's wrong. Because I just basically said that even this rabbi thinks it's a bunch of junk.
Yeah. Yeah. And Rabbi's fee lives in Israel. So, and he was just saying it's how horrible it is. And I just tweeted it out that today. I saw it on, I don't know, it was just some random person on Twitter was saying the same, pretty much saying the same thing. But, and I was just like, here, look at the rabbi, the conversation I had with the rabbi. And I doubt that they'll like be like, well, that guy's like, he's obviously an apologist too, or whatever, or he's a self-hating person.
I will say, I kept hoping when he brought up those cards, he wasn't going to say the M word. How he described the cards, his trading cards. Yeah. I love the rabbi. I love the rabbi, but he describes himself as a dirty rabbi.
Yeah. Yeah, when he was like explaining why he liked, or why
I saw your reaction. I had to laugh at your reaction.
I was just like, yeah, well, I know now why Father Christopher Miller didn't like that one, because I probably am in the same boat.
Yeah,
you know, the thing is, as I was saying, watch the 1981. So that we were talking about Brave New World. Rabbi loves it. I hated it. I mean, it was okay. It's just it's totally different than the. Have any of you read the book?
Brave New World?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I'll tell you, I'm collecting hard copies of all of these books. I'm making a library. We need them.
Well, they did a movie in 1981 on the BBC, which is really good. I mean, it's not, the sets are not the greatest, but I mean, it's faithful to the book. It's kind of based off, the Peacock version's based off a Brave New World, but it's totally different. But
yeah. So, and can we also mention the fact that Gina was immediately picked up by the most orthodox Jew I can think of in the media right now? I mean, this man's the real deal when it comes to Judaism. And I love it when he explains things. Like, he explained a Hanukkah thing. And I was like, dude, I mean, just really knowledgeable. And he really believes it. He doesn't give lip service. So if Gina was sympathizing with the Nazis, I don't think Ben Shapiro would want to have anything to do with her.
Well, like, it goes back to the same thing. It doesn't matter. Shapiro is evil too. Is like what they would argue. Is what your Father Christopher Miller was alluding to earlier. I mean, that's what they'll say. He's like self-hating, or like.
Which is exactly the whole point that she was saying, is like when you start to label people and start to justify. See, that's what's concerning me. Justifying this kind of silencing. My worst enemy. I wouldn't want that to happen with my worst enemy. Everyone should have freedom of speech. Even the most heinous person does. And freedom of religion too.
Well, I don't know about that. I guess I need to like know a little bit more. I mean, I don't think we'd want someone. I mean, the Catholic Church has censored people in the past.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, let me make it clear. When I talk about freedom of speech, I'm talking about from the secular government. The church or any institution has a right to do so. I'm talking about
Sorry.
Yeah. No. Oh,
I
hey,
wanted to. I wasn't
no,
like
the church
sure.
has every right to censure, because that also goes along with freedom of religion. That as long as religion is free, you have to do that. What I'm talking about, but freedom of freedom of speech. I'm saying idiots like Pedro Pascal. He has every right to do what he did with that whole Yahtzee thing. I disagree with it completely, but I don't think he should lose his job over that. And so that's what I'm trying to talk about is that. And then of course within the church, that's a whole different ball game, because also within the church, if you agreed to become a priest or a sister or a teacher, even for that matter, or theologian, you agree to certain things. No one's putting a gun to your head and forcing you to do that.
So Odin was talking about something, I think it was last Saturday or last Tuesday, and I don't remember why I brought it up, but are you familiar with Father Drennan? He died a few years ago. He is part of the reason why priests are not allowed to run for political office. Because Drennan was a representative from Massachusetts, a Democrat representative from Massachusetts for about 10 years. And this is during the time of Roe v. Wade. So he actually voted to support abortion. So It's because of him and the things that were going on in Latin America during the 70s and 80s that in 1981, I think it was, John Paul 79, he told him you can't run for office again.
Yeah.
Because it was a scandal. I think it was because he was talking about Biden being a Catholic and the scandal that he's giving. And yeah, that's what it was. Because this was a bigger scandal. You have a Catholic priest publicly supporting abortion, but using the idea that I'm against it.
Yeah. Well, and even if it wasn't the situation with Father Drennan, if you think about it, it's never a good idea for a member of the clergy to be in a secular position of power.
It's not our vocation.
Yeah. That was some of our issues in the Middle Ages and thinking of Cardinal Wolsey, for example, Supreme Chancellor of England. It's like, it's just not a good idea anyways. And I'm surprised it took till 1981 for that to become official.
I don't think it was really anything as scandalous up until then. I mean, it was kind of already assumed that you're not supposed to have another job on top of being a priest. And I think he had to get permission from the Jesuits. He was a Jesuit priest. Shocker.
Oh, no.
I saw that in the article.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shocker.
I'm thinking of Father Ted. It's the blanking Jesuits.
Oh, God rest. So Mary, I can't remember what her real name was, but Mary from John and Mary just died last week. They're the couple that always fought and then went nice when Father was around. I can't play the clips on here. There's some language in it I can't play. I might be able to put something in the private chat though.
I just think, and I might have missed it. Sorry, my littles were running around for a bit. But in the article when Gina said that, she cried out and her prayers were answered, I thought that was probably more one of the more brave things that she could openly admit to, particularly being part of Hollywood, because she's, to my knowledge, I mean, I've not ever seen a post that was overtly religious in any way, form, or fashion. She's maybe I think she's quoted Gandhi. I think she's, quoted the Dalai Lama. She's got posts from the Dalai Lama or Gandhi or and Martin Luther King Jr., who was of course a reverend, but nothing that was overtly religious in any way. So for her to admit that she'd been praying about it, I think that's something that gets missed by a lot of people, because I mean, and she is definitely a fighter, but you've got to fill your cup up at some point, and obviously this did it for her. And I think it's fantastic that she's going to be working on this project that's been a dream of hers with Ben Shapiro. And I just, the amount of hate that is being directed at this woman. And now they went, I don't know if you guys saw, because since it started, of course, last year, but like it really revved up in September, like August, September of 2020. And they've just been really, really consistently just hating on her.
Well, that's the thing.
Pronouns.
That's what I was just going to say.
Pronouns.
I was telling my friend about what she did with the pronouns and how they were trying to get rid of her back then.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but Kevin Sorbo has been a really big supporter of Gina Carano.
Yeah.
And I think you shared it, Father. Like, they took out his Facebook page.
Yep.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. It just happened.
Today?
Yesterday.
Yeah,
today. Holy crap. I see his tweet now.
Yeah.
Well, we have experience with that.
Right? I was really blown away, because it's targeting a very specific group of people, but it's the group of people that the narrative has been built around, that you have to take, like, if you take them down, you've took down Goliath. Like, it's insane to me. They're like, oh yeah, Christians are Goliath and everybody else is David. And, if you can take down a white Christian male, you've like won somehow. But they go after James Woods all the time. But this new hit on Kevin Sorbo, I was like, wow, I can honestly not think of anything that he has said that even remotely compares to some of what has been coming from the other side directed at him or Gina.
They've been going after Kevin for a while too. I remember we did a story where some convention had like preemptively like banned him, and he like said he had never even heard of East Coast Comic Con 2018, January 2018. Kevin Sorbo denied spot at East Coast Comic Con, and he like responded saying I've never even heard of this Comic Con.
Yeah, I remember.
I don't even know what's going on. That was like one of our first exclusives that we had back in 2018. But they've been going after him for a while too. And
they can't have their celebrities not in line with the party message.
So I was going to ask.
Go ahead. Father.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think we had Jack Posobiec on our live stream 2 weeks ago. I want to say it's probably 2.5 now, but he said something that I thought was like really enlightening, and it's basically just like you're going to have to create parallel societies, and that's what's going to happen. I think you're kind of already starting to see it, and I think the Daily Wire is kind of doing that. They're creating this parallel Hollywood. And then you also have there's the other guy, Sabato Jr.
Yes,
Antonio Sabato Jr. is doing it, and you've seen it already happening in the comic book world. With like Ethan Van Sciver, Richard C. Meyer. They've created their own kind of comic book industry that's completely separate from Marvel and DC, and it looks to me like it's still flourishing, it's still doing well. People are getting products that they're enjoying, people are creating them, and so you're already kind of seeing that happening, and we'll see how it goes into the future. I know a lot of people said they were canceling Disney Plus. We'll see if they keep canceling, if they stay canceled.
I have 4 littles. I have a nephew. I have another nephew on the way. And I've canceled Disney Plus and I won't be getting it back. And I've canceled Hulu. Like, we canceled pretty much everything. Netflix, I haven't had Netflix since the Cuties thing, and I don't miss it. And, got rid of Disney Plus, and I just put in, I pop in a VHS or a DVD, and it's, it's the same thing. I don't miss it.
I was just going to show you. Oh, go ahead.
I encourage people to cancel it, but I will say, I keeping all that stuff just because of my job. So I can cover it.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason why I actually have it.
I would not encourage pirating in any way, shape, or form, but it is an option.
Yes, we denounce pirating.
Eric gets it.
Yes, we denounce pirating.
I think the church teaches that's stealing, right?
Well, if someone else steals it and you just happen to pawn it, I don't know. Father looks like I gotta go.
Father's like, ain't touching that one.
Ain't touching that one.
I was just gonna
he's shaking his head pretty.
That's the great thing about the physical copies, because honestly, there's not really anything that's come out that I've really wanted to watch of their new stuff. And so like I can just go back to the stuff I already have and watch it however many times I want. And I already paid for it once and I never have to pay for it again.
I was going to mention, so talking about comics, there was a time probably up to about a year ago, I would walk out every week with about $20 worth of comics. Right now, I'm lucky if I'm getting 2 a week. So I did subscribe to Ha Ha, which is the sequel to the Ice Cream Man, which is done by Image. And John was mentioning, probably have to talk about that. Image is going to be giving
so that was an old article. That was from 2017.
That was old?
Yeah. I said it was from 2017. Wow. Just to let you know.
I must have missed that part.
Yeah, I think it's from 2017.
See,
but I wouldn't surprise me if they're doing it again this year.
I wouldn't be surprised either. I mean, after I mentioned they did have that gift to Planned Parenthood at the end of their Christmas comic.
Yeah, that's the actual creators I think you're talking about. So Image is weird. Image isn't like Marvel. It's creator-owned stuff that they publish. But yeah, February 2017 is when they announced that.
Okay.
But yeah, they've done that in the past, so it doesn't surprise me if they keep doing it. But I don't think they're doing a specific plan. I haven't heard anything since 2017 about that. They haven't sent me anything like that.
Anyway, I have no Marvel. I have no DC in my comic pull box.
Yeah, I saw you got the Keanu Reeves Berserker.
Mm-hmm. Well, I also
pretty
started the Kickstarter, so I have that copy coming too.
Yep.
And I supported Ethan's.
That's the collected stuff, right?
Yeah, I supported Ethan's Cyber Warts, I think it is.
Warts and all?
Warts and all.
He's got root. Yeah.
And the one that I sent you, I would love to get, but it's really expensive, is Chaplin. They're doing a comic series about Charlie Chaplin over in England.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was like $120.
The art was really good on that. I'm gonna put that in my.
Can I just? Oh, I miss good art, and I hate the excuse that this is for children. Like, so, what? Like, if oh gosh, Father, help me with the quote. It's like, if something is written for children can only be enjoyed by children, then it's not a good story. Wasn't that C.S. Lewis?
I don't know, but I mean, that's the thing. C.S. Lewis is awesome. Even I love his Narnia stuff.
Yeah.
The audiobook, I have the book, the printed version, but the audio versions are awesome. I think it was the first one that was read by Michael York, and the last battle was read by Patrick Stewart.
Oh, I bet that was great.
And John's seen this. I have to go. Let me show you my new little thing that I just got. I'll be right back.
I'll vamp in the meantime. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yes.
No, I'm not here. I just figured I don't want to have to. So I showed this on Twitter. I finally got number 13 of Sergeant Fury.
Yay!
Which is Captain America. And I joined CGC this week because I'm going to send this bad boy off to get encapsulated or whatever the term is.
Oh.
But I don't know if it shows up here. The binding,
you can see.
It's a little frayed, but I mean, it's not bad, I don't think.
Still looks pretty good.
And
yeah, because that's what the 60s.
Yeah, this is 64.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited. I mean,
that looks pretty good for something from 1964.
Well, I mean, this one I've seen that like on my comic shop. This thing has gone for at least 100, like in a 0.5 condition or something.
Oh yeah.
So I got this for 40.
Nice. I'll show the cover again because that cover is awesome. Yeah,
let me see if I can do my.
There you go. Oh,
it's so good.
Yeah.
But
there's so Lady Gravemaster, you're talking about lack of good art. There's actually I think there's lots of really great artists out there right now. We try and highlight some of them.
Yeah, I agree. I meant mainstream.
You don't see it in Marvel. No. Definitely don't see it in Marvel really at all. We did see they are doing a variant cover for March. I don't know. Did you see the covers that they did 8 covers from Jen Bartel?
Yes.
Her covers were really good.
It's strange to me that like when I clicked on the new like lineup for Cartoon Network, it's all that CalArts crap.
Oh, dude,
like,
that stuff is so
Cartoon
horrible.
Network is garbage.
All CalArts. And I remember when I was growing up, Cartoon Network was like it still had Scooby-Doo and the gang, and you had the like Ninja Turtles,
Hanna-Barbera stuff.
yeah, and
before they did
and like
Boomerang.
even the newer stuff was still like you had a lot of anime on there too. And so you had like Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon and
their Toonami block.
Yeah,
Johnny
and so you
Bla-
had all these
Johnny
great
Bravo.
Yeah, Johnny Bravo. Like all these great cartoons. I think the closest thing to CalArts was maybe Dexter's Laboratory and Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, Dexter's
But
Laboratory.
those were still like comparatively speaking, they were like Picasso compared to this CalArts crap. It's just terrible.
I tell you, what
the perfect example is the Thundercats roar. It's absolutely.
I think I heard about
horrific. That. It's so ugly.
I gotta say, I was so excited when the Animaniacs said that they were coming back because I remember watching it every day in college. I mean, I'm 20 and I'm watching cartoons. So I was excited when Hulu brought it back. I haven't finished the first season. It's woke. It's not as fun anymore.
Yeah, and Animaniacs
that makes me sad.
Animaniacs used to like be so. They used to poke fun and they used to make jokes and they used to like there was a no holds bar. They would just everybody was fair game, and now it's the same. It's like the same 3 sanitized jokes just with like different phrasing, and it's really just a bummer.
Yeah. Well, they used to I'm thinking out loud that the only fearless ones anymore are actually South Park, which is very odd because I used to always very much be against South Park. But if I'm correct, they're the only ones actually still being fearless.
Oh, they pulled some. They've held back. They've pulled some punches for sure. Like they didn't go all the way. Yes, see,
it's autographed.
Pinky and the Brain. Oh, you lucky duck.
Yeah.
Can't really see it as well, but he had a signing, and I think I paid $40 for that.
Wow. See, but like, look at the detail and like the art, and it's not just a gray background with a couple of bars drawn like. Yeah. Do you guys I'm sure you all have, but like The Great Mouse Detective.
Oh, The Great Mouse Detective.
Oh, I love that movie. Still to this day, love that movie. And it's so good. It's like the animation is fantastic. The acting, the voice acting is phenomenal. The storyline is brilliant. I mean, it's like I love Sherlock Holmes, so I'm also biased, but and it's the same thing with like Rescuers Down Under and stuff like that. Like
Rescuers too,
yeah, Rescuers. I mean, they were so good, and I just look at what they're churning out now, and I'm like, what happened?
So did you watch Soul?
No, not yet.
That was actually pretty good. I mean, obviously there's some issues with it, but it was actually like felt very classic Disney. I actually can't believe they actually made that film.
Oh, I gotta watch it now.
But yeah, Soul's pretty good. I mean, I think there's obviously like issues with it, but I think the overarching message is very very, very good.
Nice.
Are you familiar with GalaxyCon?
Can you say that again?
Are you familiar with GalaxyCon?
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
Because this is where I got my Shatner autograph.
Okay. Yeah,
they're doing. I figured Miss Martin or Lady Gravemaster would love this one. They're doing a Little Mermaid session tomorrow.
Oh, Little Mermaid.
Would you be
can I
willing
just say
to pay?
The appropriation of redheads in Hollywood is a crime, and I love that you're doing that little series, John, of like the list
side.
of redheads. Yeah, like it's shocking how many of them have been swapped.
I have one of the guys who follows us. He actually suggested we do another one about LGBT characters as well.
Gee.
So or like straight characters that were swapped to LGBT. So he gave me a list to start off with. So I'll probably what I'll do is I'll start with that list and be like part 1, and then crowdsource the rest, because obviously I'm fully aware that I'm not going to be able to figure out all of them on my own. But yeah, so that's something that's in the works too. And I need to get up the part 2 for YouTube.
Yeah,
because I've been
get in trouble.
That story actually was like one of our best. Surprisingly, so and haven't had any issues with that. So
yeah, no, that's
we did get some people were trying to get in trouble with, some people were like going after us for that. They're like, oh, calling us all the isms and everything, and it's just like, oh, I didn't make those changes. Like,
yeah,
just reporting on the changes that they made. I didn't do that.
Yeah.
So,
well, I was just reading. I don't know if it was your site or some site said that the new Captain Marvel is going to have a little backstory about Larson's relationship with Rambo.
I haven't run that. I think that came from Giant Freaking Robot. So, but I haven't run that one yet. I saw it, just haven't gotten to it. So,
I was just gonna say you could get a Tenet autograph for $120. But
yeah,
is this all? So this is their store that you have to like.
Well, they
order
have different events.
They're actually doing them in person now.
No, this is done. It's
virtually.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the other thing about this COVID thing. Going to these cons was always just a great highlight for me, and getting to meet all these actors and talk to them. Like a few years ago in my local one, we had the guys from Cobra Kai. We had the actress who played Belle in the 91 Beauty and the Beast. I miss it.
I might have to get this one.
Cosplay.
I miss
John Lovitz.
Yeah. Ah, yes. Do it.
I wonder if I would get in trouble. There's a Saturday Night Live clip with him on it. I don't know if I can play it or not.
You would most definitely probably get nailed for it, but do it anyway. Isn't it better to ask forgiveness than permission, Father?
I can always take it out afterwards when they say that it's offensive.
I mean, now you don't even ask for forgiveness. You just blatantly attack people and just go on with it.
Blame everybody else. Personal responsibility.
Okay.
Okay, Father, have you ever gotten any little phone calls from the bishop over any of this stuff?
No.
Cool.
Oh, was it? Let me see.
Okay, did you just Gary this? Did you just do a Gary, Father? Oh,
no,
were you guys watching last night?
I loved it. I was so tempted to freeze, rewind, and try to look up that URL.
Oh, I'm sure he would have been happy to let you just be like, yeah, I deserve that. But that's what you get for showing it to everybody on screen. No, later on in the stream, he accidentally booted himself off.
Oh!
Wait, what Gary did last night?
Yeah, he went to try and go close the YouTube window, and he closed the whole thing. And so then all you hear is him going, crap. And so he's like trying to get back to he's trying to get back.
That's funny.
Is it playing?
So, John, I can't hear the sound.
Oh, you can't hear the sound? Okay. Let me try this again then.
You did Gary it. No, I'm just kidding. John, was it your guys' article that was saying that Soul was getting backlash for being pro-life or having a pro-life message? Was that you guys?
I don't think we covered. I think we did a review for it, and that's it. Yeah. But that wouldn't surprise me because it does have a pretty it does have a pretty pro-life message in it.
Yeah.
Like the issues that I think it has with like Catholic teaching is probably like what the afterlife looks like, which it's similar to Coco, where it has like shows you, but yeah, it does have a pretty pro-life message.
That's what I heard. Like,
surprise me.
I couldn't remember where I read it. It may have even been like I don't think it was Deadline. It might have been Variety or the New York Post, but I just remember reading about how people were stunned that that they were getting this pro-life messaging when there's such a big divide with Roe v. Wade. And now I think we have like 13 sanctuary cities for the preborn.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I forget the one town I want to say in Ohio just became like the 13th sanctuary city for, I think it was Ohio or Texas for the preborn. And I know, oh my gosh, which state was it that just outlawed abortion?
Missouri?
Was it Missouri or Mississippi?
It was started with an M, I feel like.
Yeah.
I know they were trying in Missouri.
Yeah, but there's now, so there's one state that's completely, it's completely free of all of that. But I'm really shocked that people don't see the parallels between, because they're all like, oh, human sacrifice isn't a thing nowadays. And I'm like, actually, it's one of the biggest industries in America right now, which is
and when they tell how they're
horrifying.
getting rid of Down syndrome, it's because you're killing them.
Yeah. It's not that they came up with a cure or that they found the genetic marker that they can, treat.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, they just have been ending their lives.
Okay, here we go. Let me know if the sound's playing. Is the sound working?
I don't hear anything.
I don't hear it.
Okay, we're gonna have to try.
We can just watch LegalZoom. You should get sponsored by them now.
I don't know if that would happen. Let's try this.
Goodness.
I'm gonna open a new window on this.
I think so. While he's figuring that out, John and Miss Martin, from the past since 2015, can you name 5 films that you think are instant classics that came out in the last 5 years? Since 2000, so the last 6 years. Since 2015, can you think of anything that was like an instant classic? And I don't mean like a cult classic, not like John Wick or anything, but like a Gone with the Wind.
No.
The only thing that yes. I mean, comparing to Gone with the Wind and stuff. Like the only thing that pops into my mind is Joker. And how well that did. But yeah, nothing really like a classic. And even then, I don't think that's going to be, I don't think that'll I don't think that could stand the test of time.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, the last real classic movie I can even that pops into my mind is 2000 with a Gladiator.
Yep.
So,
I think Lord of the Rings trilogy
yeah, I guess, yeah.
is kind of where I end, because I loved Harry Potter.
2001.
Yeah, I loved Harry Potter growing up, and it was great. But I went back and tried to read the books and watch the movies, and I did the whole the new Grindelwald series that I'm not going to watch anymore because of how they treated Johnny Depp. Well, but I was just like, I don't know what happened, but I just don't find the same passion, or for lack of a better word, magic in the Harry Potter series. And I'm not sure why. I read the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit probably 2 or 3 times a year, and I watch the films. I won't even go into how much time I spend on watching the films, but
you can never spend too much time. Well, I think that part of it for me personally has been Rowling just sitting around retconning and saying, oh, actually this is what happened, and it takes you out of the story.
Yeah, well, she can't do that really anyway, so because cancel culture came for her too. I mean, she really doesn't have to. I think that's what was shocking to me, was she was capitulating to these people for so long and never had to. And then finally, I guess, when she came out and in defense of women and got attacked for it, I think that's when she finally was like, wow, this is everything I did to try and appease these people was worthless, because they're just going to keep coming until they find something to try and destroy you.
Exactly. And it's almost as though we said that would happen, right?
Yep. Because remember where they were the whole thing, how Harry Potter was racist because there's only one girl and two boys that are the leads, and she's a little white smart girl. And then, J.K. Rowling came out and was like, all it says was that her hair and eyes are brown. It doesn't say anything about her skin color. And I'm like, you can't go halfway with these people, because, all right, they don't drop that. So maybe they drop the intensity of it, but it's still there. They just pick another one, and they just keep coming for you until finally she came out in defense of women, which is what these feminists claim to want and to champion. And now it's oh, you're a horrible human being.
Yeah.
I have to laugh.
Well, hi, Emily.
The funny thing is, on Facebook, I don't know why, but I've been getting a lot of friend requests from young women.
No, that's
and they, the thing they say, it doesn't say any, there's no mutual friends. And it's like, I had one that said, you're handsome, wanted to get to know you better. It's like, you can't be real.
It must be a bot. Yeah. No, but good point. And
Russian.
And now she's liking everything on my, now she's liking everything. I'm probably going to get about 20 notifications for that.
Oh, boy.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah.
Well, on that fun note, I was going to see if I could play this thing.
Third time lucky.
Is the sound working?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hear it.
All right. I got a toast. Here's to a guy who just sold his condo for 5 times what he paid for it.
You want more than the rest. You just won't take second best. You've never been number 2, and you're gonna grab the things the world offers you. Where you going, you've always known it. Where you going, you're on your way. Where you going, you're gonna pay. Yes, you're going to hell. For the life of false values, empty ambition, and wrong, you've earned the agony of eternal torment. You're going to burn. No doubt about it.
You should play that at Sunday Mass, Father.
Do it.
No.
Have you?
That's probably one of the few clips from the 80s that was actually, the mid 80s when Saturday Night Live was kind of This was before Dana Carvey and all those other Mike Myers and them came on. And the thing I was making the point to somebody the other day, I can't watch anything with Alec Baldwin in it because of all his hatred and everything. Comparing Alec Baldwin's Trump to Dana Carvey's Bush. I don't know if you've seen Dana Carvey portraying Bush. He didn't hate the guy. He didn't hate the guy. He may not agree with him politically, but at least it was done with fun. Where it seems like Alec Baldwin's done with hate.
Yeah, and that's why it's not funny. It's funny if there's some truth to it and it's lighthearted, but nobody wants to go and see someone frothing at the mouth when they're supposed to be just doing satire.
I don't remember the last time I sat down and watched a whole Saturday Night Live episode. It's probably been 20 years.
At least.
I don't remember the last time I just turned on Saturday Night Live, quite frankly.
I never really watched it ever, so.
Yeah.
I might have watched like the one clip on YouTube. I like the Will Ferrell clip where he's with Sarah Michelle Gellar, and his whole purpose is, to me, the joke is that they're just trying to drive their daughter away so they can eat her helping of spaghetti. He's like, I drive a Dodge Stratus. And when she leaves, they're like, pass the spaghetti around, and they put it on the plate.
Well, you see the Celebrity Jeopardies.
Yes, the Celebrity Jeopardies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Celebrity Jeopardy, and then what's the other one?
Connery.
The cowbell one is one that is like, I think that's pretty iconic. And isn't Van Down by the River? Isn't that an SNL skit?
Yeah.
So I've seen those clips.
Chris Farley.
Chris Farley. So I've seen those clips, but I don't think I've actually ever sat down and watched a whole episode.
Let's see. I'm trying to find because Trebek died like within 2 weeks of Sean Connery.
Yeah, that was brutal.
I'm trying to find. There was a perfect meme that came out. Problem is, I got like a few hundred things to look through. Let me see.
Well, and so while he's looking for that,
here's something different though. No. But you'll like it. It kind of goes back to what we're talking about Wolseley. Let me see.
Oh no!
Just brilliant. Oh my gosh! Wow. I shouldn't laugh because it's quite terrible, but also like it's so
this in class. I showed this in class every year when we were talking about the church in England. Let me see. Well, there's since we're talking Henry VIII, I could show this one too. If it will open. Come on. Probably, there we go. Okay, let's bring this up. So, as you probably know, I have a morbid sense of humor.
Oh my god!
Oh wow!
A little dark.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do a quick image search. Let me see. Oh, anyway, I probably can't find it. It was just basically a meme of Sean Connery saying, "Well, Trebek, we meet again." It was posted shortly after Trebek died because Connery died like a few weeks before he did.
Yeah. Two legends, I tell you.
But
on that note, how do you guys feel about the new Anne Boleyn historical fiction series?
Oh, the whole purpose of it is to rewrite history.
Yeah. Well, it's history. I'm sorry. Anne Boleyn was a real person. Mm-hmm. So it's just wrong because you can't change historical figures. If you want to make a fictional, maybe something that might look a lot like what happened in England with Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, fine.
Allegory.
Yeah. But if you want to do a historical person, you have to portray them historical, period.
Unless you're in Japan and you're doing the Fate series where it's fictional.
Yeah.
and then it works.
Love this.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I know.
If they were to do Martin Luther King and have it being played by a white man, that would be absurd.
No,
absurd.
I was just I know exactly what I 100% agree with you. I was just making a sly remark about the Fate series because they do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, the Crusades would probably be a topic for another time. I taught church history for 9 years, and the thing I usually told my kids, Muhammad died in 631, I think it was, and within 80 years they've gone from Mecca to the Strait of Gibraltar, and within another 20 years they're at the gates of Paris. On the eastern side they conquered Jerusalem, and they're at Constantinople. That wasn't done with peace and love.
Well, and all of northern Africa too.
Well, that's what I meant. They went from Mecca all the way up to Spain.
Oh, understood.
To North Africa.
Understood. That path.
It would help if I had a map to show, do the play-by-play with the X's and O's.
Yeah. Well, what strikes me in the historian world, this whole myth of what people consider the Crusades and what happened, it hasn't been accepted by historians ever, and certainly it's not in keeping with the scholarship that's been going on since the 20th century. They're just willfully trying to have a narrative. I mean, history is history, and we shouldn't be afraid to face history, because of course there were things that happened during the Crusades, especially atrocities and the like, but there's such a grave misunderstanding of what was really going on, especially in the First Crusade.
Those are all my history books.
Uh-huh. That's the thing, like, you know, it's when people are angry enough to publicly attack or belittle or defame someone else simply because they don't like how they look or what they say or, you know, what they believe or how they think. I mean, of course you're going to go I saw a tweet and I wish I had saved it, but Twitter did that thing on me where I tried to like go click on it and it like jumped me back up to the top and I couldn't find it again.
I hate that.
But there was a tweet and it said that it was something to the effect of how dictators and people who are on the wrong side of history are the only ones who need to rewrite it. And it was they had basically, it was a screenshot of something. It was a screenshot of another tweet was the picture. And it said, "Here, I fixed it for you." And they crossed out, like, it was some kind of bill. And they crossed out all of these things. And they said, "A white guy said this would be smart. This will help." And then, you know, blacked out what it said. And it was like white people. Like, so they rewrote it. And they're like, "Fixed it for you." And it's like, it's true though. The only people who come at you with the whole "fixed it for you," unironically, I will say, like, they're not being serious. You know, there's obviously, like, I've done it before where someone, like, a headline will get shared and I'll be like, "Here, fixed it for you." And I'll like change it ironically, much like the Babylon Bee does, who have been on point, by the way. But you know, you have that sarcasm there. You have these other people, like this person did. They literally spent the time to go through and black stuff out and then write in their own prejudice into the space, because they weren't being ironic. Like, they were literally rewriting that thing to fit their narrative. Like, right in front of you, it was there, and nobody was like, nobody calls it out when they do that at all. Rather than coming at it with some kind of common sense or scholarly rebuttal, they revised it. It's just crazy.
Well, this is, you've probably seen, I've tweeted about this before, but there's a new series out by Ave Maria Press, Reclaiming Catholic History. And it's actually been really good. It's simple to read. I'm always looking for new history books. The one that just came out that I just got, and it took 3 times to get an undamaged copy, was this one covering Pius IX, World War I and II, and the Second Vatican Council.
Oh, wow.
Sweet. Yeah. Well, you have nothing to fear from the truth. That's what I always say, is like, face the truth head on. If you feel like you have to alter something to make your point, then your point is nullified.
Yep.
And there's a lot of hard truths, if you will, about things that Catholics did in the past, and face it head on. And I think that's what one thing it always appealed to me about the church, once you got past the prejudice and just went and actually maybe talked to a Catholic, is you find out that they don't whitewash the past. No one's fooling themselves about things, but you have to use your brain. You have to use your reason.
Well, it's because all you're doing, if you try and sanitize the history of the church, then you're bearing false witness about God's church. Like, that's never going to work. You can't get to God through deceit. That would be something that the devil would try to convince you could do. And
exactly. Yeah. And the fact that the ones that are trying to use those tactics. To quote church lady, who could it be? I just can't imagine. That's going on right now.
There was a quote that St. John Henry Newman had. Basically, it says to be deep in history. To be deep in history is to cease to be Protestant.
Yep. Well, that literally happened to me because I majored in history, and next thing you know, I'm like, darn, I have to join the church now.
Well, Scott Hahn did too.
Yep.
I would say, from my viewpoint, the best books I have are Warren Carroll. He taught at Christendom College. He wrote a 7-volume series on the history of the church, and they're pretty in-depth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, Father, you showed your shelf. Not that I'm bragging, but I actually have an entire room filled with books in most of my entire downstairs. And actually, I've been boxing them up and starting to store them in my garage because I was running out of room.
I found it interesting. There's this big push. And this is worrisome because, book burning has always had this stigma attached to it. And they are becoming more and more comfortable with the burning of physical books. It's one thing, I think, in their minds to take a digital copy off of a website. They're like, that's not quite the same. But to be okay with actually burning physical books is the next logical step. And, a lot of people are already at that point where they're okay with it. And I found it very interesting. There was this push to get rid of encyclopedias that were pre-woke. They're like, everything's online, you don't need it, go ahead and get rid of it. And I was like, no, I still have my Britannicas, and I go back and I look at stuff because you hear things now where, the biggest argument, of course, is that. Yes, exactly.
This actually. Sorry, go ahead.
When they changed the definition, when Merriam-Webster changed the definitions of some of those words. I know John did an article. It was a big deal, not too long ago, and now it's been sort of, I guess, just removed from everyone's minds. But I still remember that because I went and looked up in their physical dictionary that I have. I looked up the definition of that word, and first of all, one of the main rules of a definition is if you use the word to describe itself, that is not a definition. Mm-hmm. And so I was really shocked at how just the slight changes that they made had an incredible impact on the whole definition of the word. And then they used, the woke speak of whether it's whether it's class or wealth or whatever it is to be oppressed. Basically, if you have any form of personal achievement or wealth or accomplishment, you are an oppressor, is basically how that definition came off.
Well, I was going to mention, somebody once asked me, why don't Catholic websites have the imprimatur? For those watching, if you buy a Catholic theology book, they'll have an imprimatur from a bishop basically saying that this book is free from any theological error. Well, what's on a website one day can be changed easily the next. I mean, look at Wikipedia.
Yep.
I mean, the day that an actress announced that she's not a she anymore, I mean, how quick was everything changed?
Yep. He's now getting divorced from his wife, and yep.
Thank you, Saul. I hope you noticed the sarcasm in my thanks. So part of the reason I'm not in my clerics right now is because right before the stream started, I was out shoveling. I woke up to about 1.5 inches of snow on the ground. We're supposed to get 3 to 7 this weekend. And I'm praying we don't get more because last week I had to cancel the mass because we were supposed to get 1/2 inch. We were supposed to get 1/2 inch. We got about 5. And I made it 5 miles out of town. So from I have 3 parishes. So from parish A to parish C, which is in mountain time. So 3 parishes, 2 time zones. That's fun. It's about 30 miles to get from parish A to parish C. And I was going about 30 miles an hour on the wrong side of the road because it was safer. I'm like, screw this.
Yeah, it's not worth dying over.
No. And the problem is I don't want to have to do this a second week in a row. I really don't want to do that. Well, I just don't like driving in snow.
We're supposed to get 12 to 15 inches where I'm at.
Ooh.
In a day.
I'm gonna have to cut out. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, no problem.
Yay!
Yeah, good. I figured we'd go to about bottom of the hour, so I'm glad you were able to make it, John.
Yeah,
enjoy the family time.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Oh yeah, thank you. You guys, see you guys around.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah. Well, Father, one of my favorite quotes from Father Benedict Groeschel was, "Jesus never said in the Bible, 'Be stupid.'" So
I got a picture. I have to get this picture of him. I met him before.
Yeah, I met him too, and I'll tell you, he
let me get this
picture.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'll tell my Father Groeschel story. This dude, I think he had the supernatural gift of knowledge. I was at a book signing at Steubenville, and I was thinking of I'll just say going against my doctor's orders, because I thought, you know what, if I have faith in Jesus, you know how we sometimes get tempted like that.
Yep.
So I mind my own business, and I go up to do a signing with Father Benedict, and I'm like, "Hey, Father Benedict, I really liked your talk and all that." And he said, "Are you following your doctor's orders?" And I'm like,
they do have the ability to read souls.
And and I was just like, I told the truth. I said, "Yes, Father," because I had it. Because I told him, I said, I have this issue, and then he was like, "Good." He said, and then he started lecturing me about God gave doctors the order, blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Yes, Father." So, and that is one of the supernatural gifts. I think sometimes people like to focus on some of the fancier ones, like healing or speaking in tongues and stuff, but often people are gifted with that. So,
this is from 25 years ago.
Yay! Look at baby Father Christopher Miller.
He's so cute.
Yeah, look at that. Was that at Steubenville too?
No, I actually worked at EWTN for a summer.
Oh, so that's how you saw him. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because I also have, I'll show these other 2. I think I shared this one before.
Yep. Mother Angelica.
And wait to see this one. The best part about working down there was I got to live in the guest house. So any of the guests that were down there, I got to meet.
Oh, Scotty.
And you know who that is too with
Jeff
him.
Havens.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I've talked with all of them.
So I spent about 2-3 months down there. And I took an internship with them over another internship that would have led to a job after college.
Yeah.
It was worth it.
Oh, yeah. Well, and those guys, there was a moment in time, it was the late 80s, early 90s, and that was when I was going through my search, that there was such innovation going on. There was a bit of a joke that was happening because God was so sick of trying to work with the Catholics that he started recruiting among the Protestants. So, he brought on Scott Hahn and all of them because there wasn't a lot of dynamic preaching, or there was so much apologizing for anything. And they came out and they really used their skills and their talents. And that's kind of how I got recruited amongst them too. So it was a very fun time.
I had to say, the summer that I was ordained a deacon in 2007, I gave away all my ties.
Oh,
because I was never going to wear one again.
That's true. Yeah, there you
Unless
go.
I get sent undercover, which.
Well, I was about ready to say, Father, remember what happened in the French Revolution? Yeah, French Revolution, and then Mexico, when the communists.
Have either of you seen Shoes of the Fisherman with Anthony Quinn?
Yes, I have.
I have not.
Oh, it's basically the first Russian that gets elected Pope during the Cold War. It was made like in 67, 68. It actually has probably the best papal election scene I think that's ever been filmed. It shows what happens from the moment the Pope dies to the breaking of the ring to the conclave.
It's good stuff, and all the different clothes and the different shoes.
Oh,
they have different sizes just in case they don't know if it's going to be a small dude, a big dude.
So I got to go to Rome for the first time 3 years ago almost. I paid $90 to go on the early access to the Vatican Museum tour. Ooh. And that allowed you to get into the Sistine Chapel before it opened to the public. And it was beautiful because I actually got to take a seat there.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I broke the rule because the guards really weren't there. I took a few photos. No flash.
No.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Let me see if I can bring that up. I mean, it was just truly.
I think that's the epitome. I think that's the epitome of like. Can you imagine working on that for for so long and to have it last for
another movie, Agony and the Ecstasy with Charlton Heston.
That's what I was just thinking. A great movie about that. And when I went, I got to see St. John Paul in the Vatican, and I was there with my folks in the Sistine Chapel, and you can't put it into words just how magnificent that art looks in real life. You can see a picture, but and my dad even said that was probably one of the most impressive things he's ever seen. Is the Sistine Chapel.
Okay, let me see if I can find it.
That man was amazing.
This gets to show you the pictures I took.
I miss St. John Paul.
I went nuts there. So I have enough miles to go back if I wanted to.
Were those French fries?
Yeah. What, that?
No, that's spaghetti. There was definitely. Oh, okay. That's called.
No, that's pasta.
That is pasta. Okay.
Okay, I was about to say you do not go to Italy and waste your time on French fries.
I know. That's what you just blew past it too fast, and I was like, "Why are you having French fries in Italy?"
Yeah, the upside to COVID because I haven't been able to fly or go to Europe, so I've got enough points now for like 2 more trips. Oh my god!
Look at that!
Wow!
Yeah,
there's hardly anybody in there. I mean, it was beautiful. I got to take a seat on one of the benches. I prayed part of my office there.
Oh my gosh, Father.
Can you imagine, like, that is the epitome of being amongst giants. Like, I can't even just look at that.
For the office. Because when I was there, people are like shoulder to shoulder, Wow, look at that.
My sound died for a second. I didn't get to hear all that. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Oh no, I'm just ranting and raving. I'm about. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Oh, this is bringing back memories.
I want to go back so bad. I want to go back so bad.
Oh my gosh. I think I miss that. Like, I think that was one of President Trump's best orders that he could have ever given. I don't know if Biden has rescinded it or not. I'm sure he has, but where he stated that any government building now has to be classic architecture, like it has to be artful and classical, and it has to not be in the modern style, not this cold, sterile, disgusting stuff. Like, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's breathtaking.
So I flew to Rome round trip for $100 because I had Sky Miles.
Yeah. You see, I got so many miles. Father, you need to take like a tour, a pilgrimage of all the gang. We all just meet up in Rome and you show us everything.
I've only been there once. You know who that is there?
That's St. Cecilia.
No, Maria Goretti.
Oh.
Because, so part of the thing I wanted to do, I don't know if I mentioned it, my grandpa fought at Anzio, where the Allies landed in Italy. And Anzio is about an hour south of Rome, so I hopped a train and went down to Anzio to see the battle, there's a museum down there. Then I hopped the train back on to go down a little bit further to Nettuno, which is where the American Cemetery is. It's also where St. Maria Goretti is.
Wow.
Oh.
So
Gosh.
Wow.
I guess I'm so used to seeing like a young girl with pink and thinking, oh, look. Gosh.
yeah, this is the cemetery.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, Father, look at that. Father, have you been able to see all the ones in Paris and been
No,
to the
that's my hope. My hope is to go to Normandy next because I have enough miles to go back to Europe.
Yeah,
and I'm just trying to figure out how to do it.
I think that's one of my biggest regrets is not being able to go see Notre Dame before the spire fell.
Father, yeah. Oh, that just killed me. I mean, I've been very lucky to been able to go and see those things several times, but the last time I went to Paris, and I think I made a little video, I'll tag you, Father. The last time I went, I was able to see the St. Vincent de Paul, his body, and I went up again. I go to Lisieux almost every, Teresa Martin, quote unquote. I go up to Lisieux and always visit my little namesake. I always say, once I'd said, okay, I'll dox myself, and I showed her cathedral or her basilica, but you get to the stuff with the little flower is just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And also the stuff with the Normandy. Oh my gosh, look at this.
Yeah, this is the Beachhead Museum.
Oh,
they had artifacts from both sides. And the funny thing is the guy there did not speak hardly any English.
ooh. So
I had to use like this little phone app trying to translate that my grandpa was at Anzio. Now, up the road from St. Mary Major is a former prison that the Nazis used. My screen went dark. I don't know why. But they kept it. They made it into a museum to show what the... that's in the Vatican Museum. That was the car that John Paul was riding in when he was shot.
Wow.
And thus the Pope Mobile was born. And then he didn't use it.
Yeah.
Can
They
you
got a
imagine
new design.
Can you imagine being his security detail and he just like doesn't get into the Pope Mobile and walks out into the crowd? Like, can you imagine?
I would kill him. I don't know, Pope or not, I'd say, you get back here right now, sir.
I'm sure he caused many heart palpitations.
Yeah.
Father, Miss Martin, it's been fantastic. I do have to jet though.
I figured we go to the bottom of the hour. We gone a little bit longer, but no, I'm glad this worked out.
Yes.
Thank you to everybody for watching. I want to go back to Rome.
Yeah. Yeah, Father, maybe some other time, maybe some focus, maybe one of your Nerd Father ones, just showing all these things. I want to see more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look.
Well, I will say I had to laugh at this one, and I don't want to keep Miss Mart or Lady Gravemaster. I know you got to run.
I can duck out. You guys can keep talking without me. Oh,
no, I got to get running too.
Mr. Hot Dog, €2 and.
So, no, I gotta get running. I have to go back to shoveling and printing the bulletin. I don't know if I'm even going to try to put a homily together. Because if masses are canceled, I'm not going to.
Well, you know what? Put one together, and then you can always, just you can just do words of encouragement instead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay, so till next time, everybody. Again, thank you for joining us. God bless.